just be yourself. What kind of advice is that? We hear it all the time, and obviously we need to hear it because we're not always doing it. But like, who came up with the idea that there was any other way to be, right? Like, humans were put on this earth or created for, and we're all unique. We all have these like totally unique, magical qualities. And yet we're like told, but you have to be a certain way. You have to fit into a certain category. Don't use all those amazing gifts that you have because you got to be this other way. And so then you end up not being yourself, but then the message that you get throughout your life continues to be just be yourself. So it's really confusing. I'm trying to think back as to when I first felt like I was myself and like I wasn't myself. And I remember being a kid and playing with my friends and playing house and having a couple of friends that were really, really close. And I feel like I was myself with them. I remember being myself with them. I remember feeling like myself when I was alone, reading in my room or doing the same stuff. I guess that makes me feel like myself now, like drawing or writing poetry or listening to music. The music that I liked, even though my friends thought it was like dorky or whatever, which they still do. And then I remember when did I not feel like myself? Usually so as a child, it was usually when I was talking to adults. When I was like hanging out with my parents' friends, I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure like how to have manners and be myself at the same time. So like I often got praised for what a well-mannered girl I was, but I wasn't myself. Like, oh, thank you, was like all I could say in response. And I had nothing else to say because I was like, shit, what do you say now? If I show who I am, maybe I won't have good manners and then maybe I won't get praised, And so after college, one of my first jobs was working at Anthropology, which in the town I was working in, dude, it was an uppity store. No offense to anybody that works there or loves it. I love it too. It's just like the most expensive hippie store for old, rich hippies that aren't really hippies. I don't even know. Is it a store for people who are trying to just be themselves? Or is it a store for people who are trying to not be themselves anymore? Or be someone else, right? Like try so hard to be someone else. That's what it represented in the town that I lived in and where I worked. It just seemed to be the kind of people that came in for the most part. All right, let's not make giant overbearing judgments here. Okay. So the story, though, is that I worked with this girl who was just so amazing. She was younger than me. I think she was like 18 or 19 when I worked there, and I was probably like 22 or something. And she was just the coolest. Her name was Lauren. Lauren, if you're listening to this, I don't know where you are, but you are the coolest. She would wear like, I can't even explain it. Like she looked like Cyndi Lauper, except it was the year like 2000, or 2001 or something. And so, but she owned it. She owned who she was. And so it wasn't just the way she dressed. First of all, her aesthetic was like not an Anthropology aesthetic at all, but she was herself, man. And it was like, just by being herself, she got to work there. Nobody told her, you have to change the way that your fashion sense, to work at the store because your fashion sense doesn't match with ours, which at a store like that, it would not have been surprising if she had been told that. But she wasn't. It was like she was so much herself that she got the opportunities she wanted. So anyway, working in the store, she kind of talked like, I don't know, she talked to everybody like she would talk to her friend. So, and think of how an 18 or 19-year-old girl might talk to a friend, right? It's just like, hey, girl, yeah, those jeans look so good on you. Oh my God, look at what they do to your ass. And she talked like that to these like 55-year-old women that were strolling into the store with all of their money and their expensive purses and throwing down $500 for their like, you know, just a little something I picked up. And this girl is in the changing room, you know, talking to them just like they're like, hey, they're the coolest besties, whatever. And so watching her was just like my first adult glimpse into, oh, I don't have to be anyone I'm not. I can just be myself. And what a concept, right? To just be yourself. And so I think for the next 20 years of my life, that has been my journey. Even if I didn't think that was my journey then, looking back, right? Is that all of our journeys? Is that the big joke? All of our journeys are us trying to come back to ourselves, right? And many of us never knew who our real selves were. We've been taught to shut down against that or fit, you know, a different mold from the moment we're born. So how funny that we're here to be ourselves, yet that is our greatest work. Well, if you're listening to this, I know that that is part of your work, that is part of your passion, and that you, my love pie, more than anyone, perhaps is so greatly and authentically herself, even when you have moments where you don't feel that way. So, yeah, do it. Keep being yourself. I love it. I see you. I hear you. And I love you. Thank you for listening. Mwah.